Jeff Bezos said it was his best day ever after traveling 60 miles above Earth's surface in a spaceship designed by his company Blue Origin, known as New Shepard. For roughly 4 minutes of weightlessness in suborbital space, the second richest man alive spent around $5.5 billion. But was this tour worth it? What new experiences did Jeff share with the media after returning to Earth? To find out, make sure you stick around till the end of the video. Welcome to Bezos Space. Subscribe to the channel to be always updated about Jeff Bezos and private space company Blue Origin. Now, with that being said, let's begin. Jeff Bezos, the second richest man in the world and mastermind behind the retail giant Amazon, fulfilled a lifelong ambition and launched himself into space. The rocket that he used for the purpose was New Shepard. Now, New Shepard is a rocket manufactured by Blue Origin for space tourism. It is designed to take passengers into suborbital space inside of a crew capsule. The capsule features 6 large observation windows, 1 per seat. New Shepard is fully reusable, and it made 15 uncrewed tests before any manned launches. In November 2015, it was the first reusable rocket to successfully make a soft landing on the ground, beating out the more famous SpaceX Falcon 9 booster by several weeks. Now, for a typical flight, New Shepard launches vertically and soars for about 2.5 minutes before the main engine cuts off and the capsule separates from the rocket. Passengers are weightless for about 4 minutes during the 11-minute flight and are high enough at an altitude of 307,000 feet to see the curvature of Earth. The spacecraft coasts for a few minutes in space before re-entering the atmosphere and using an autonomous, rocket-powered vertical landing system to touch down. New Shepard is named after NASA Mercury program astronaut Alan Shepard, who was the first American to fly in space in 1961 on what was also a suborbital flight. Passengers aboard the Blue Origin spacecraft, however, will enjoy more than 10 times the space in the capsule than Shepard did in his Freedom 7 spacecraft, according to the company. Up to 6 people can fly into space at once. The interior volume is said to be large enough for everyone to float and move around. The large windows will provide a view of Earth. In addition to passengers, the spacecraft aboard New Shepard can carry standardized experiments of up to 50 pounds, with larger options available for custom requests. Blue Origin launches from a remote area of the West Texas desert, roughly 25 miles from the town of Van Horn. The facility is called Launch Site 1 and is highly restricted during launches. Even nearby State Highway 54 typically does not allow the public, and only select media can go on site. The capsule is fully automated, so there's no need for trained staff on the quick up and down flight, expected to last just 10 minutes. Branson's Virgin Galactic rocket plane needs 2 pilots to operate. This is the sort of sci-fi maneuver that makes rocket travel today more akin to plane or ship travel, just another vehicle to board and depart on. While Bezos and crew return via a separate parachuted capsule, the reusable rocket is revolutionary for the space business. Upon landing, Bezos, estimated to be worth $205 billion, said he has had the best day ever. Why does this launch matter too much for Jeff Bezos? Well, war is always one of the reasons. Billionaires Richard and Jeff are locked in a battle to build new space businesses. Richard Branson's Virgin Galactic flight occurred 9 days before Bezos' launch. Meanwhile, the SpaceX business of fellow billionaire Elon Musk is upping the pace with its reusable Falcon 9 rockets, with 60 launches so far. A friendly rivalry exists between Musk and Bezos, but it was Blue Origin in 2015 that was the first company to successfully accomplish a vertical rocket landing, which was an achievement of its own. Reusable launch rockets can cut the price of transporting a kilogram of goods into orbit from $20,000 to $2,000, moving an activity that had once been in the hands of governments into the private sector. Smaller, faster microchips are driving down costs and making satellites smaller too. In unveiling a Blue Origin moon lander in 2019, Bezos warned that the Earth would eventually run out of energy, making colonizing space, not Mars which Musk has targeted, a chief goal. You can't wait until the long-range problems are urgent to work on them, as Bezos put it. We know that primary goal of Blue Origin is to make a working space colony for humans in orbit of Earth. For making a satisfying statements to his investors, Jeff Bezos said, "This sounds fantastical what I'm about to tell you, but it will happen. We can move all heavy industry and all polluting industry off of Earth and operate it in space. The prospect of solving the problem of pollution by hoisting dirty industry into space sounds like science fiction. Coming from the guy who understood the prospect of online commerce years before others and then made it happen, makes dismissing such grandiose visions harder, regardless of the public's misgivings about billionaires. Let's talk about what tests that taken in order to assure safe travel of astronauts in space. Prior to flying in space, Blue Origin launched several prototype test vehicles. The first test flight took place in November 2006, and the first vertical landing, which took place after a short flight, happened early in 2011. A second test vehicle in August 2011 crashed due to flight instabilities, according to Blue Origin. Blue Origin received $3.7 million from NASA under the first phase of the Commercial Crew Development Program in 2010. The money was used for a launch abort system and composite pressure vessels. After several more commercial crew phases, NASA ultimately selected SpaceX's Dragon and Boeing's CST-100 spacecraft in 2014 to eventually take astronauts into space. But do you know why Jeff Bezos traveled into space just for a few minutes only? In order to answer that, you must know that for Jeff Bezos, space is everything about tourism. To advertise this, Jeff Bezos himself made a small trip to space. But he was not the first billionaire to do so. Yes, you got it right, he was not first to introduce space tourism, nor first to test it. The commercial race to get tourists to space was heated up between Virgin Group founder Sir Richard Branson and former Amazon CEO Jeff Bezos. On July 11th, Branson ascended 80 kilometers to reach the end of space in his piloted Virgin Galactic VSS Unity spaceplane. Bezos' autonomous Blue Origin rocket launched on July 20th, coinciding with the anniversary of the Apollo 11 moon landing. Although Bezos lost to Branson in time, he reached higher altitudes, about 106 kilometers. The launch demonstrated his offering to very wealthy tourists, the opportunity to truly reach outer space. Both tour packages will provide passengers with a brief 10-minute frolic in zero gravity and glimpses of Earth from space. Not to be outdone, Elon Musk's SpaceX will provide 4 to 5 days of orbital travel with its Crew Dragon capsule later in 2021. Let's talk about other people who accompany Jeff on this tour. Bezos' brother Mark, 82-year-old Mercury, Wally Funk, and Oliver Damon, an 18-year-old physics student. Blue Origin has not revealed the going rate for tickets aboard their suborbital space vehicle. However, for the company's inaugural human spaceflight in July, they held an auction for one of the seats, which ended up going for $28 million. The anonymous auction winner ended up having a schedule conflict, and 18-year-old Oliver Damon, whose father had won a ticket for him on a future flight in the auction, flew in their place. Since that first human flight, Blue Origin launched its second human spaceflight with Shatner on board on October 13th from the company's launch site near Van Horn, Texas. Shatner, however, flew for free, courtesy of Bezos. 2 of the other passengers on the flight purchased their tickets, but the price they each paid is not known. The 4th passenger was Blue Origin's own Audrey Powers, the company's vice president of mission and flight operations. What are future planning of Jeff Bezos regarding traveling to space? Following this second successful suborbital flight, Blue Origin aims to launch one more crewed flight in 2021, with several more planned for 2022. What do you say in the future will Jeff Bezos be able to pursue his dreams of creating an industry called space tourism? If yes, what do you think will be the drawbacks of this industry? Please consider sharing your own opinion about it in the comment section down below. And if you like this video, please consider subscribing and giving thumbs as a feeling of appreciation. See you in the next video.